Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again with a hopefully quick video on Diablo 4 Season 1, what I've chosen to do, a Necro, and just a bit of talk about the season itself. So I'll probably just start out by talking about the season for a bit, and then go over what my character is, what I chose to do, and how it functions, just in case you want to do something similar. So Season 1 is essentially just the base game, fresh start as seasons and leagues always are, but there's also going to be mobs that are kind of empowered every now and again. So a rare elite style mob, and once you kill it, you click some heart thing and you kill it a second time around. When you do that, you then get a special piece of loot that is basically a gem for your jewelry that gives you an extra bit of power creep for your build. It's pretty much not anything super build enabling, just mostly build enhancing, and yeah, that's roughly all there is to it. You'll sometimes see some elites, and you will sometimes get a gem. It's pretty out-of-the-way content that doesn't really, I mean, it's during the game itself, but it's, for the most part, just something you interact with at a side quest, I suppose, to complete the little campaign thing. And then if you really want more of it, you go into these little tunnels to get more of it. Because if you don't do that, you will rarely see this shit. I had about a 4-hour window yesterday when I was playing during Hell Tides and Nightmare Dungeons that I literally didn't see a malignant mob. It was pretty crazy. But then if you go into the tunnels, you can find a few of them, and you can get the gems you are looking for. So all in all, as sort of a overall thing, the mechanic doesn't seem too big, and the season doesn't feel too different. So for what it's worth, for my money, Season 1, like, it's still more Diablo. If you want to play some more Diablo, great, that's what you're going to get. And it's a bit of a different extra thing to interact with in the Diablo. So if I'd say ideally you didn't really start Diablo until Season 1, then you're probably going to have a nice experience where you get a bunch of completion and campaign and fun and all that. If you had already played Diablo and then you're restarting Season 1, I don't think you're going to get too much new out of it, and it's going to be similar to how a lot of people feel about PoE, and I have felt about like D3 seasons and stuff, where there's not really enough to change, enough to come back to really spice things up, to give a shit. Because, yeah, I basically just did everything I wanted in Diablo 4 on release for the month or so, played it, and then the season comes out and it's just a restart, and there's not really that much extra content to engage with, not really too many different builds and stuff to do because of this thing. So it's going to be pretty short-lived. I think after a couple of days, 3 days or something, I'm pretty close to already just going, that's enough for me. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's just Season 1 as it is, but the character I'm choosing to play is a Necro. Once again, Necro is pretty good, well-rounded class, has good few options, and for the most part feels pretty comfortable. I wanted to do a Sever build, and Sever is just a skill that throws out like this reap skeleton, and then it comes back and does some damage, and it tried to be that, and it ended up being something that kind of feels like Bone Spear. So I was leveling with minions, doing minions, and also Sever, and you pick up a pretty overpowered Malignant Jewel early on that just auto-casts your corpse shit for you. So you're pretty much a corpse explosion build combined with some other stuff, as most people will be playing a very similar thing. And then at some point I tried to rely less on minions, become more reliant on pure Sever, and then I picked up another Malignant Jewel that is, I think, pretty strong / overpowered / bugged / I don't know what's going on. It's the crit delay one. So when you attack and you crit, you then delay all your attacks, and you dish out a big sort of payload after a couple of seconds. and it feels like it's doing more damage than it should or something. I don't know, like it's like scaling off of your multipliers twice or something, so your initial hits and then the payload damage can scale off of your multipliers as well, something like that. When I put it on, it did feel like I became a more powerful character, and it's also kind of a weird interaction because it prevents all damage for the few seconds that it's charging up all damage for the few seconds that it has that crit payload happening, and it works on everyone. So anyone you're teamed with in a Legion or a World Boss, whatever it is, will be doing no damage after you've dealt your damage, or it will look like they've dealt no damage, and then you deliver a payload based off of their damage. It has resulted in me critting for like 20 million at level 60 on a world boss, and it's just a bit weird that it does that. So everyone else is going to feel like they're doing no damage, I think, and then all of a sudden you're coming in with a huge piece of crit. Other than that, it seems just to be a pretty strong thing. Like, charge up all of your damage to deliver one payload. Instead of like critting 5 things 10k, you throw out 150k crit on all of them. So I think it was overall a big thing for the build, but the idea was just to be a Sever build where we throw out some Severs, do some damage over time, and that was going fine. This just seems to be going better. Either way, I'm just going to go ahead and show you what my character is currently doing and how I started playing the Necro. So here is my character level 61 boned Necro that I guess I'll show the gems that I got to start with. What you basically get very early on in Necro is a Decrepify aura. It works off of nearby enemies, and then you just start proccing Decrepify on things around you. It starts out with like 4, and I think it can go all the way down to 0, so you can just basically have perma Decrepify on enemies. Pretty strong stuff. Then there's this gem, of course, that you'll see most Necros with. Just automatically pops corpse skills nearby, so once you get this, you will just start going off with your corpse tendrils. It has its own like internal cooldown of maybe like 3 to 5 seconds, so it just autopilots does that, and then you can use your own corpse tendrils as well. It'll start popping off corpse explosions as well, and as well as that, while you have minions, if you have the skeletons on your bar, then it's going to resummon skeletons based off of corpses, basically autopilot as it goes. It's pretty powerful stuff. And then the Wrathful Heart, the one that I was just talking about, lots of crits, critical strikes, and all subsequent damage within 3 seconds absorbed by your target, and then stored damage increased by 12 seconds, so 36% more multiplier that then gets dished out in one big hit. It feels pretty good, and I don't know. It is a completely different build, so it feels good in its performance. It changes the way my build works because I'm like no longer dealing big damage over time and stuff. So I may get rid of it and play around without it and see if like the build is still fine without it. But for now, yeah, using it, and it felt like it got me through some much higher tier content than I otherwise maybe would have. So yeah, the idea is I'm trying to be like a damage over time Sever build, and instead it's just like this big payload that feels like Bone Spear. Anyway, so the build and the way I was like leveling was with minions. I had basically a few extra minions like skellies and golems all the way up till only a few levels ago. I was running like bone splinters into, let's have a look at this, into Sever, into a bit of blight using the aspect, lucky hit corpse stuff, corpse explosion with the damage over time. You'd start to just pop those all over the place, and they deal pretty decent like AFK damage. Only recently started doing curses because you do need that at a good rank, high enough tier so that it becomes pretty, consistent. And then also corpse tendrils, all of the shadow stuff over here. And then I just then picked up Bone Storm once I got rid of minions, and then that as well. And then using Shadow Blight. So a lot of my stuff feels like it needs to synergize better without the crit gem, which is why I'm not so sure about it. But yeah, currently that's how it is. The aspects I'm using, just some damage reduction, I don't know, the stun thing that I'll get rid of like pretty soon, I think. Crit tendrils thing, armor, blight, defile, area, pulls things together. The shadow blight damage thing. Decrepify, Iron Maiden only just recently got this, so when I have both curses on enemies, extra damage. Umbral, that is a pretty recent addition as well, but it helps sustain my resource. And then crit Sever, Pool of Blight. I don't think this is a crazy build or anything, nothing too well rounded. You know, it's fine, gets you through the game, just like most minion builds will. Or most Necro builds with a few extra minions attached. So like I said, just then recently sacrificed them, but otherwise I think I was using Reaper with this. I think I was using Skelly Mages with that. And I think I just had a Blood Golem doing something. This, maybe? Or this? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Pretty stock standard. Necro levels very easily. Has some nice gems. And as for the Paragon, just real quick, I've barely done anything, so just went over here, there, went up, and I'm working towards, I got Wither, and I'll work towards some other stuff, like, I don't know, consume corpses damage, and nearby corpses. But yeah, nothing too serious. I'm sure there's a real Sever build out there you can follow if you really give a shit. That's been my experience. As for Season 1, don't think I'll be playing too much more. ExileCon's coming up in a few more days. And I don't feel too invested in the character or the season. After having just then played, gotten characters some high level, and had my fun, this isn't really too different enough, and I haven't had it. If I like had a few more weeks between what just happened with Diablo 4 and this, maybe I'd be more invested, but it just hasn't been enough time, and I won't be really capable of investing too much time in this, so I don't know, it feels a bit shallow and a bit same as before, just with an extra little mechanic. Throughout the campfire talk that they had, the dev talk, they did say that there's like some other end game shit that basically needs to be in the game that isn't Nightmare Dungeons, that's gonna keep the end game going. There was plenty said in that was somewhat positive, but it's all like look to the future basically. So you know, couple more weeks, a patch will fix it, Season 2 will fix it, Season 3 will fix it, all that stuff, and maybe when those roll around, we'll be able to play Diablo 4 for a longer time. For now, that's my character. I'll play it maybe a bit more, but otherwise we'll look forward to ExileCon and then whatever huge new PoE league we've got. So I hope you guys are taking Diablo 4 for what it's worth and having fun with it. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.